Hello and welcome to Rita's Paper Motif. I'm Rita, and today I wanted to share with you my current favorite collection, and that is the framed florets. So have a seat and just join along with me. I want to thank you for that. Before we get going with our project tonight, quickly I wanted to share that any measurements or description of the product or even my online store, you can find at ritaspapermotif.com. So I'd be honored for your business, and so you can just find everything there at the website. And also, if you have not subscribed to my channel, please consider doing so. And if you hit that bell icon, then you'll be notified of any new content that I upload. And then, as always, it kind of goes without saying, your comments, whether they're questions or just sharing where you're watching from, are welcome. And of course, we love those thumbs up and hearts. So having said all of that, let's just get into the video for tonight. Now, what I wanted to share with you, of course, is the framed florets collection. Now, it's called a collection because in the collection you get more than just a stamp set or more than just dies. You get a lot of product, and so that's what I wanted to share with you tonight. And we're going to make a couple of just let me get you all in focus. We're going to make a card, and I'm going to share with you how I did that. So first of all, the star of the show is the stamp set and the dies that are a bundle, and they're called the framed florets. So the stamp set's called the framed florets, and the dies are the framed florets. Now, when we look at this stamp set, one of the things that I like a lot is that you have several sentiments. So whether you're wishing a happy birthday or thanking somebody or just letting them know how special you are or they are, or even celebratory, this stamp set has it all. It also has some nice florals, and I'm a floral gal, so you know, I really was attracted to that. And then it has some sprigs of like leaves. So all around a good stamp set. Now, you know what? Stamp sets, you can always get your stamp set and then just fussy cut out whatever you've stamped. But I'll tell you, life is so much easier when you go ahead and take part in that 10% discount that you get by getting the dies along with the stamp set. And I want to show you these dies. I have to tell you that I have been using them like crazy. So you get 2 sheets of dies, You get this beautiful oval, and when you die cut your oval, you'll get this edging that is so beautiful. So you have like 4 areas that will come with like a little teardrop holes, and then some like stitching like around the rest of the oval. This is a great size oval, and I am going to say what I always say, and that is I have come to love the ovals because you know what? When you use an oval with your card and then you stamp the sentiment in the oval, it just pops. It is like the spotlight or the camera on the star, and that is the sentiment. And so you get this set of dies, which is that oval, and then a small flower, a larger flower outline, and then a bunch of flowers. So you would get those dies is for this flower, and then the bunch of flowers, and then of course the leaves. And then you also get another card of dies, and this of course goes for the spray of flowers, and then of course leaves, and then you get another leaf, which is kind of it it's like the veins of the leaf when you dye them. And then this sprig. I love this. You know what? You're not relegated to a certain color when you use dyes. You can use them for a lot of things. So on many cards, I've used this in white or even in gold, and it just is stunning. You also have 2 more ovals. So this oval is the same size as this oval. It just doesn't have the decorative, the 4 decorative points on it. And it does have a stitched look. And then here's a smaller die, and it also has almost like the ribbings that you would have on a jar lid or something. And that's beautiful, and it's smaller, so it fits within this oval and the other oval, if you would like it to be. Now, again, I'm going to tell you that I have used this die set over and over and over, and I know that I just feel kind of like there is no end to what you can create with the with the die set. So let's go ahead and look at some more that comes in the collection. I'm having an issue getting this back in. All right. So these two come together. It's a bundle. Now, it's in the collection right now, but I just want to go ahead and share right now that this is going to carry over into the mini catalog. So you will have another opportunity to get this bundle, but you will not have an opportunity after the end of December to get this other stamp set that comes in the collection right now. And this is called Framed and Festive, and I absolutely love it. Look at these Christmas sayings. You have Merry Christmas, you have Noel, fa la la. That is really neat. I made a card where I just masked off some of it, and you can actually do fa la 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 for like Deck the Halls, you know, the song Deck the Halls. So a lot of stuff that you can do with it. But how cool is it to say 'tis the season to be jolly? You could use that with Santa. Just it is just an awesome stamp set. And my hat is off to Stampin' Up! To come up with this. It just is like the icing on the cake. And again, I'm telling you that this will not be available after November, but also keep in mind that it's while supplies last. So when this is sold out, that's it. So if you are interested in this stamp set, then you're going to want to get the collection, right? Now, the collection is more than just these 2 stamp sets and the dies. You also get these way cool, they're called gold, adhesive backed gold swirls. And I think that you can see how much they shine. These are awesome. Awesome. These also are limited time only. So this is not part of it. I just stuck it there because I was doing something else and I didn't want it to be lost. But you're going to be able to use these in so many ways. So great job, Stampin' Up! And then also in the collection, also for limited time only, is the designer series paper. So I have to say at first that I felt this was like an unusual print, but I've come to like it. So you have the balmy blue flowers, you have the leaves that are evening evergreen and soft succulent, and you have the white. So I have used a lot of this, even though in the beginning I didn't think I would like it. This is all I have left of this particular print. Now also, you know how Stampin' Up! Is. They also have another print on the back side. So this is soft succulent. I love this print. And then also the next sheet is this butcher block or plaid evening evergreen. We're going to use some of this on our card tonight. But how Christmassy is this? This is very Christmassy. And I tell you what, the other sheet that I had, I used to make a recipe board. And I have used that whole sheet. This is how much I love it. And all the uses that you can get from this print. Of course, on the other side is another floral. So even though this screams Christmas, this can be used year round. Great for some Christmas birthday cards. Sorry, I got Christmas on the brain. Great for some birthday cards or get well cards. And then also there is this paper, and on the other side is the pink. But what I wanted to share with you about this paper is that I've noticed that some of the artists, some of the paper crafters, have colored these berries red to make them look like holly. So that is definitely something you could do to make it very Christmassy, right? Or, you know what? Mistletoe has white berries, and these leaves look very much like the leaves on the mistletoe. So even though mistletoe is a poisonous plant, we do see a lot of it at Christmas time. So you could use this either way. Now, if you take your Stampin' Blends, you can do your real red. I'm going to show, or in one of the cards I did, I used my cherry cobbler. But it actually looks great when you color them red as well. And then, of course, pink on the other side. And here's an unusual print. This is Night and Navy with some balmy blue and then the little red berries. And if you look at this sheet of paper carefully, you can actually see, or I can see, where there are some squares if you wanted to use them for some, you know, you wanted to use them for a layer and you just wanted that square. I believe it's about a 2.5 or 3 inch square. So that is great. It's easy if you don't have a trimmer and you're using scissors. This is ideal, right? And then, of course, it has this polished pink on the other side. Here's another set of florals. And on the other side of the florals, you'll have this beautiful green print. I love it. It is so says Christmas to me, and I haven't gotten to this sheet of designer series paper yet. I have to tell you that I did my Christmas cards. I did Christmas in July, so I really was kind of finished with my personal order of Christmas cards. But once I got this collection, I have to say I can't stop making the Christmas cards, and I am trying to broaden my horizons as far as the same kind of thing that we would do with Christmas, and rethink like birthdays and congratulation cards and stuff. But this just screams Christmas to me. Now this is also very beautiful. You know, I could think Easter. I can think of a lot of things that I would use this for. And then, of course, here's another floral, the bigger flowers. And the dies will cut out some of these flowers, so that's a good thing, right? You can't have, to me, in my mind, I can't have too many flowers for cards. I love it. And then here's the other side of that card, which is the balmy blue. And then I have these other 12 by 12s that don't go in the collection. But why I'm sharing this collection with you is not only so you can see what's in the collection, but also this designer series paper. You can't buy it separately, and once the end of December comes, this is also not going to be available. So these 3 items will not be available after the end of December. And these 2 will be available in the mini catalog. So that is sometime in January. But what I wanted to share with you is it really is worth your time to get the whole collection, because not only do you have a great Christmas stamp and some other great product, but they really do all go together. And I'm going to show you how I've used them together. So I encourage you to want this product and to get it. Now you can't, it's not in the catalog, and so you really need to go online, and if you go to ritaspapermotif.com and you go to specials, it will be one of the very first things you see, and you can order it there. So you know that it's there, but it's not in the catalog, so you won't find it in the catalog. It's just a special treat from Stampin' Up. All right, So let's get started. I think I've gone on about that long enough. And let me know how much you like florals too. So let's go ahead. Now I wanted to show you how I made this card. This is the card that we're going to make today. So let's just go ahead and get started. Now what you'll need to make this card is you'll need a piece of, I'm using cherry cobbler, and this is 8.5 by 5.5, and then I scored it down the middle at 4.25, which gives me that A2 size card. So cherry cobbler is the card base that I'm working with, but you can change these up to whatever works for for you. And then I'm also using some basic white, and what I did with the basic white is I took, this is a 4 by 5.25 sheet of basic white, and what I did is I ran it through my embossing and die cut machine, and I put it in this folder, which is the name of this folder is called I'm so sorry, is called the Whimsical Forest. And so when you look inside, you can see that it's got some really, they're supposed to be like the veins of the tree, or like a forest of small trees. But when you run it through your machine, you'll come up with this texture. And that is what I wanted, was texture. And then, of course, I have another 4 by 5.25, and that's going to be my inside panel. So we're going to use that for the inside. And then, of course, I use some of that gorgeous designer series paper, and this is actually 2 inches by 5.25, and I had to measure it to make sure. So now I've used up a whole sheet of that paper, and I'm so excited. It's good to use things up and not have to think about trying to use them a little later. And then I did go ahead and use my stamp set here, this stamp set. And when I first got the stamp sets, I just went ahead and I just stamped a whole bunch of the flowers and then some of the sprays. And that's because I have them here, and I've already done that, and I can use them as I want. So that's where I got those. And what I did is I did cut one of these, or I colored them using my alcohol blends. And this is cherry cobbler. And I colored the flowers, and then I just wanted a different medium, and so I used my old olive pencil, watercolor pencil, and I just did the leaves in that. And so here's what, and then I die cut it. I used the die to cut it out. So here's what I ended up with. And then, of course, I stamped some of those flowers, right? And then I colored those also with the cherry cobbler alcohol markers. And so then that was what I did with that. And then I also took that die that does the, let's see, I wanted to show you that because I love that die. So that die is the die that does the sprigs. So it's kind of like a whole, sprig with the stem. And so I cut that out at Evening Evergreen. Now I've used a lot of colors to cut that out. So you know, again, it depends on what you're doing with your card as to what color you want to do. I also, when I cut for another card, I used that decorative oval, and this was the middle part. So I'm going to use that up today. And then also when I did the smaller decorative oval, I have this that is out of the middle. So I'm going to use that up today too. So now let us go ahead and get started. So the very first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to pull out my silicone mat, and I like this because ink and hot glue and glue do not stick to it. And I'm also going to get out the things that I need to stamp. So we're going to go ahead and stamp those things so we don't have to worry about it. And so let's just do that. Gosh, I think I'm falling apart here. And so what I wanted for the inside of the card was I wanted this stamp that comes from that Christmas stamp that says, "From our home to yours." And so I am going to use the Evening Evergreen to stamp that. And so I'm just going to ink up my stamp. And I am going to stamp it off. You can see I did that before on another card. I am going to go ahead and stamp that off to make sure I have enough ink, and I don't. So that was a good thing to stamp. So sometimes I try to ink it up a little gingerly because I don't want to get ink around the edge. But I think I have plenty of ink right now. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to stamp it kind of towards the bottom and to the right. You can stamp yours wherever you want. And so we're going to go ahead and stamp it. And then I'm going to clean off my stamp because then I don't have to remember to do that later, and so that's a good thing. Okay, so that stamp is clean. So the inside of our card is finished. Now let's go ahead and stamp this oval. And what I want to stamp the oval with is I want to stamp it, picked up the other stamp, sorry. I wanted to stamp it with, "May the season be filled with peace and joy." So let's go ahead and do that also in Evening Evergreen. You know, I have come to really like this Evening Evergreen. How about you? How many of you like it? I'm going to stamp it off. So I need more ink. Yeah, I really do like it. I like to use that basic gray in many times in the place of the Memento, just because it's not as stark. So I'm going to go ahead and stamp it now, and I'm going to try to get it as straight as I can. I do have to pull it closer to me so that I can do that. Let's see here. And my studio, it is very bright here, so sometimes I have to be ever mindful of that. All right, so clean off that stamp again, and we are finished with our stamping. So let's go ahead and close our Evening Evergreen. And those two are finished. Now, I am going to go ahead and put the inside of my card on the inside of the base of the card, just so that, you know, it's just finished. Now, you can use whatever adhesive that you choose. My favorite adhesive is the Stamp and Seal. Sorry for that arm reach there, but I really do like the Stamp and Seal. You don't have to use very much, and it's super strong. So that's good. I am also going to be using the liquid glue, but the liquid glue and I don't have a great relationship, and that's because with the liquid glue, it's one of those things where less is more. Okay, we are finished with that, and I am going to put a flower right there on the inside just to decorate it. And I'm going to go ahead and use a little bit of adhesive. I probably would use a glue on this as well, but we'll just put that right there, and that decorates the inside. So now we have the outside. One of the things I will say about when you're using textured layers for your cards is that the Stamp and Seal is a great adhesive, but I find that the glue is a little bit safer just because of the texture. So that's what we're going to use. We're going to use the liquid glue on this. And we're going to go ahead and glue this first. This is that plaid strip that we have. Put it on our silicone mat. I love the silicone mat because glue and doesn't stick to it. So if you get glue on it, you can just roll it off. But if you get glue on your work surface, that's going to be something you're going to fight. And it is kind of hard to clean it off, so ask me how I know. And so what is your favorite adhesive? Let me know in the comment section. All right, here we go. We're going to glue it right here on this textured panel. And I'm going to put this on here for a while. Now while that's drying, I'll move it. While that's kind of drying, I'm going to go ahead and glue these as well, or adhere these together. And I am going to use the liquid glue again. I also like, when I'm doing my cards, to be mindful of what I'm going to do with a card. If it's a card that I'm hand delivering, then I really like the dimension. I really like the height. But if it's something that I'm going to be mailing, I take into consideration that the more weight and the more bulky your mail is, that you're going to have to pay a little extra on postage. So I'm not sure what I'm going to do with this card, so I do believe I'm going to go ahead and glue it onto the front of my card. But before I do that, this is plenty dry now, let's go ahead and glue that to the front of our card base. I just love the different embossing folders, and I want to tell you that I don't feel, I like to have all of them, because there's sometimes where you think, well, that texture is weird. I mean, this is like a forest texture, but look how great it works on this, right? So I just think having embossing folders is just such a great thing. So I'm going to go ahead and glue this down, trying to center it as best I can. And because I have texture, I'm going to turn it over, and I'm going to kind of rub it from the back side so I don't squish that texture. All right, so now we have our oval. And I think for now I'm going to go ahead and glue it. And stick with me, because I'm going to show you some other cards I made with this collection. Okay, and then we're just going to go ahead and set this down. And then we're going to take our flowers that I had stamped and then die cut them, and then I used the cherry cobbler. I didn't really do a lot of shadowing. I just used the light cherry cobbler. But you definitely can do shadowing if you want to. It's totally up to you. All right, let's also first put this sprig down. Now, I most of the time with these sprigs will use glue dots to stick them down, but I'm just going to go ahead and use a little bit of liquid glue. Now this is a good time to pull out your reverse tweezers, and we do have, actually we have reverse tweezers in my online store now. It does come with an embossing buddy and also with a tray. So it's so helpful because you don't have to get glue all over your fingers, and you can hold up your item. And then also for embossing, it's just perfect. So I'm going to go ahead and put this down. And then I am going to use dimensions for this set of flowers. So let's do that. Now I am using the regular size dimensions because this is kind of wide in some areas, but I'm going to try and stagger it so that the so when it sits, it's going to sit even and it won't be lopsided. And I don't mind using a few more dimensionals because I know that when it gets to the gosh, I'm losing my voice. When it gets to the post office, it is going to go through that machine and it can be an issue. So I just try to remember that, and I think I can get one more here. Okay, and then I'll just take the backing, the release paper off of the back here. And I got some glue on my fingers, so this release paper is sticking. And my fingers are a little sticky. I kind of hate that. Okay, so we're going to go ahead and put our spray right there. And then we're going to now embellish our card. But I do see that I have this little flower I was looking for before. Let's go ahead and glue that down. And I like these. This flower kind of reminds me of some poinsettias. So I like that a lot. All right, so the inside is decorated, the outside is decorated, and let's not forget that envelope. So what I decided to do with the envelope is I wanted to use this little flower right here, and I am going to stamp it with the cherry cobbler. One of the things that can happen with your alcohol blends, of course, is it bleeds through, and I just kind of wanted a different kind of medium there. So let's just go ahead and we'll just stamp it like this. I'm going to do a couple of them. And there we go. And so now our envelope is also decorated. We're finished with all the inks. Now let's go ahead and decorate our card. So as you can see on this card, I didn't use the swirls. You definitely can use the swirls, and I'm going to use them tonight on this card that we're making. These are the little brass flower trinkets, and I just like them because they really do look like the middle of a flower, and I hope that you can see. But I also took my glitter stickles and I just put a drop on the middle of each flower, just to give it a little bit of interest, because as you can see, you really can't see the middle, right? So we're going to create that with some bling. And then I did just go ahead and put some of my adhesive back red dots on here. So and then one other of the brushed metal dots too. So just to decorate it up. So let's go ahead and do that with this. We're going to use those swirls. And take your pick tool. I'm also going to put one of these steel dots on the bottom, and it's just something I wanted to do. So let's go ahead and take this off. And I like that they're backed. Now some of the, whoop, I just said that, and It's because I have glue on my fingers. There we go. All right. I really like to decorate my cards with shiny things. This glue on my fingers is making this hard. I might have to stop and get some. I think I am, because it's getting frustrating. So let me just grab some hand sanitizer that will usually take care of the stickiness. And then we can finish, because that's frustrating. So I'm not going to use the stickles on these flowers right now, but you definitely can. Let's go ahead and get some red dots here so that we can get that card finished. Now I kind of collect the embellishments, so it's just kind of good to have a whole selection, so then you can do with it what you want. So here we go with the red dot. I'm going to move this a little. Sometimes when I have textured layers and I'm putting on like these adhesive dots, I will sometimes go ahead and put a little bit of glue, like a little dot of glue on there, just because it helps ensure that it won't come off. And my hands still have that wet hand sanitizer, so guess I can't win here. Let's see. Okay, so now we have the red dots on there, and our card is finished. So here's what we created tonight using the designer series paper from the collection, using those beautiful florals from the collection, the Christmas stamp here from the collection, and then the dies, are the ovals for the sentiment, are also created from that collection. Now, I wanted to show you a couple other cards that I've created from the collection. And here's another Christmas card. So here's a bigger oval. This is the inside of that decorative oval. And then it's funny that I used the same sentiment. That must be one I gravitate towards. And this is some old paper I had in my stash that this was the last little 6x6 square that I had, so I used it up. And I used the Lights Aglow dies to cut out on some white glitter paper. So there's the snowflake, there's one there, one there. I don't know if you can see that glitter or not, but it's right here. And then I also have some little adhesive dots that also have, they're like glass, they're like glitter adhesive dots, and I've had them for a while. Actually, they're really like sequins. And then of course here are the red dots as well. And then you could definitely put a ribbon. You could also put a ribbon on here too. So a little red ribbon would be really cute right there. And then I took the back side of this snowflake paper is like butcher block. And so I used that on the inside. And then I did just go ahead and put an insert with some red and then the white on here. And I'm not sure what I was thinking, but I like it. And then here's another card I used with the collection that is not a Christmas card, but I used that, the designer series paper in the collection. It's the one with the balmy blue flowers and the blueberries, and then I just used the contour dies to cut out this rectangle that has the scalloped edges, and if you can see, it has a little stitching too. So that's another go-to die for me. I love them. And then also I used from the stamp set the sentiment that says, "So lucky to call you friend." And then of course I fussy cut these, although you can use the dies to cut them. I want you to know that you can. I just did not. But I cut out 3 of these, and then I water colored them with the balmy blue. And so these 2 are adhered down, and this is on a dimensional. I also used the dies to cut out these sprigs, so they're out of white. And there are some of those leaves that from the die set. These are like the veins, and I just cut those out. So really my thought behind this is, when you're planting in your garden in a container, you always have a filler, thriller, and spiller. So these are the fillers. And then here's some leaves that I cut out of the silver foil, just to give it a little interest. And then these are the adhesive dots, the matte dots from our online store. And then and I just layered all of that on white and then on Night of Navy. So this background color is Night of Navy, so it all coordinates. That's the beauty of Stampin' Up! Product, is that the Night of Navy cardstock and designer series paper that has that color in it, and your ink and your blends and your pencils are all going to be the same shade. So you won't have a light blue with a little darker. It doesn't deviate. They're all the same color, same shade. And Stampin' Up! Is noted for that. And they take a great pride in making sure that there are no surprises as far as that color of ink. And then on the inside, I just took one of those flowers and decorated it. And this is like a thank you card. And it says, "Thank you with all my heart." So I'm just showing you some different options as well. And I have to say, I have done a ton of cards. There is one more I'd like to show you. Now this card is also a Christmas card. But what I did with this card is I used that, remember I showed you that paper, and it originally has white berries. I just used the cherry cobbler alcohol blending marker and colored those all red. And then I layered that on some soft succulent, and then just on a white base. And then I did cut out several of those sprigs. So this is Evening Evergreen, and then this is out of the gold foil. This actually is not gold foil. This is, it's almost, it was a sheet of a little thicker than the holograph paper or the foil that you might use. But I wanted to use it up, and it's just so shiny. I love it. And then, of course, I cut out the one die, or I used that die to cut out the die. I used that die that is just a single die with, let's see, I want to show it to you. So it is this die. I used this, and so you get that ribbing around the edge. And because this sparkly gold paper is a little thin, I did also cut one with white, basic white cardstock, and then I just glued them together, which gives them some substance. And then, of course, there is the gold sprig that I put in there as well. And I want to tell you about this bow. When I started this card, I thought I had some soft succulent ribbon. I must have used it because I couldn't find it. And so I just took some white ribbon, and I took my alcohol blend, and I just colored my ribbon and it looks like it was meant to be a soft succulent. So I just want you to know that if you have white ribbon and you have the alcohol blends, you can match your ribbon to the other colors that you have in your card. So make note of that. And then I did stamp it with Have Yourself a Merry Little Christmas. Again, I used the red adhesive dots. And on the inside, I stamped From Our Home to Yours. And then I just put a strip of this paper on the inside just for decoration. Okay, so those are the things I wanted to share with you tonight. If you like any one of these cards, let me know. Please tell me which is your favorite. And I would be honored if you wanted to recreate them. And as always, know that you can go to ritaspapermotif.com for all of the dimensions and measurements of each of the items for the card. And then also for any of the product, you can also just click Shop Now, and then you go to Shop Now and you can put in the item number, and then you can go ahead and shop for products. So I want to thank you for your time tonight, and I just want you to know that the ultimate compliment that you can give me would be to share this video with your friends. So thank you so much for that, and don't forget to subscribe, and you all have a great week, and I'll see you back next week. Thanks. Have a good day.